Most people with a computer science degree can't write this 5-line program in an interview. And I don't mean a trick question, I mean something a curious 12-year-old could figure out in an afternoon.
Okay, that sounds like a wild exaggeration. 5 lines? These are people who studied algorithms, data structures, discrete math for 4 years. What's the program?
It's called FizzBuzz. The rules: print the numbers from 1 to 100. But for multiples of 3, print fizz instead. For multiples of 5, print buzz. And for multiples of both, print FizzBuzz.
That's it? That's the legendary filter? I could do that with a loop and 2 if statements. Where's the catch?
There is no catch. That's exactly what makes it terrifying. Back in 2007, a developer named Imran Ghory wrote a blog post that quietly detonated inside the hiring world.
He'd been interviewing programmers, and he noticed something disturbing. A huge chunk of candidates, people with degrees, people with resumes full of buzzwords, simply froze when asked to write FizzBuzz.
And when Jeff Atwood, the guy behind Coding Horror and later Stack Overflow, amplified it, the floodgates opened. Interviewers everywhere confessed the same thing: the majority of applicants couldn't do it.
Hold on. I need to sit with that. We're not talking about a niche skill. We're talking about the single most basic act of programming: loop, condition, print. If you can't do that, what were you doing for 4 years?
That's the uncomfortable question at the heart of this whole story. And the answer isn't that these people are stupid. It's more interesting than that.
So let's separate 2 things people constantly blur together: knowing about programming and actually programming. A CS degree is heavy on the first one.
Right. You can pass a data structures exam by describing how a hash table works on paper. You can write essays about big O notation. You can ace multiple choice about pointers.
But none of that forces you to sit down with a blank editor and translate an idea into working instructions. That's a separate muscle. And muscles you never use atrophy.
There's even a name people floated for this: the 2 populations problem. Roughly, there seem to be programmers who can program, and programmers who, somehow, can't. And credentials don't reliably tell them apart.
And that's the real bombshell of FizzBuzz. It was never about the difficulty. It's a smoke detector, not a final exam. A smoke detector isn't hard to pass, but if it goes off, something is very wrong.
So what actually reveals a candidate when they hit this problem? Because I've watched people fail it, and it's rarely the logic itself.
Exactly. The tell is the panic. A capable person hears FizzBuzz and just starts. They think out loud, write a loop, test a case, fix the order of their conditions. Watching them work is the whole point.
There's actually a subtle trap in it, too. If you check divisible by 3 first, then divisible by 5, you never reach the FizzBuzz case, because 15 already matched 3. You have to check both together first.
See, that little ordering bug is gold for an interviewer. It's not there to fail you. It's there to watch whether you test your own work and catch it. That's the actual job.
Which reframes everything. FizzBuzz doesn't filter for genius. It filters for people who can calmly turn a spec into code and verify it. That's shockingly rare under pressure.
And here's a twist that surprised me. The reason interviewers reached for something this easy wasn't laziness. It was self-defense. A bad hire costs months of salary and a demoralized team.
Write the cheapest possible filter that saves the most expensive possible mistake. Spend 2 minutes up front, avoid 2 quarters of pain. FizzBuzz is basically insurance.
But let's steelman the other side, because a lot of great engineers hate this test. Their argument: nerves are real. Being watched while you type is nothing like real work.
That's fair. Some brilliant developers blank on a whiteboard and then go build entire systems in peace. So a botched FizzBuzz isn't proof someone's a fraud, it's a flag to slow down and look closer.
And that cuts both ways for the interviewer, too. If FizzBuzz is your hardest question, You're not really testing engineering, you're testing composure. Pass it and you've proven almost nothing beyond a pulse.
Which is why the smart version isn't solve it or leave. It's solve it, now make it handle any pair of numbers, now explain your choices. Suddenly a toy problem becomes a real conversation.
And that's the career lesson hiding inside a joke problem. The gap FizzBuzz exposes isn't intelligence versus stupidity. It's exposure versus theory, hours actually shipping code versus hours just hearing about it.
So if you're a student or self-taught right now, the takeaway is almost freeing. You don't need to be a prodigy to clear the bar most people trip over. You just need to have actually built things.
Write small programs. Break them. Fix them. Do it enough that turning an idea into code feels boring instead of terrifying. That boredom is the exact confidence FizzBuzz is looking for.
Because in the end, FizzBuzz never asked, "Are you smart?" It asked something quieter and far more honest. When nobody's grading you, do you actually make things?
And that question doesn't stop at interviews. It follows you through your entire career. The people who keep building keep answering yes, degree or no degree.